Hi guys, welcome back to the second session. Hope you guys learned a few things in the first session wherein we discussed about the roles of an industrial engineer and what are the skill set, the work style, the knowledge required to become a successful industrial engineer. So in this session, we'll be discussing about the types of time calculation that are needed to be done by an industrial engineer and that needs to be maintained by an organization to be successful. The first one is the takt time, second is the cycle time, third is the lead time. So in this session, we'll be discussing the ways to calculate each of these time and how they are beneficial to an industry. This session will be mostly theoretical, very few examples. From next section onwards, we'll be dealing with cycle time calculation, which is the basis of an industrial engineer. So let's see takt time. In other words, it is also known as customer cycle time. It is the rate at which the customer produces the part, not you, the customer. Remember this. So the formula to calculate or to determine the takt time is customer operating time expressed either in second or minutes divided by the customer demand per day. So this is the formula. Let's see how do we calculate with taking an example. The question is in front of you. What are the important points that need to be taken out from this are represented by these blocks. Customer requirement is 300 pieces. Customer is running 2 shifts. Each shift is of 8 hours with 30 minutes break for lunch, and the OEE of the customer is at 85%. So we need to break down this statement into few steps, which are as follows. The customer requirement is 300 per day. The working time of customer in terms of minutes is 8 hours is converted into minutes, 480 minutes. Then we need to subtract any breaks which are given to them. In this case, it is mentioned 30 minutes break for lunch, that is 450 minutes. Now considering 2 shifts and the OEE considers the performance, the availability of the machines and the quality of the products. So this is at the customer end. This includes even the short break of time, that is involving tea breaks or washroom breaks for the operator. So 2 indicates the 2 shifts, 450 is the actual working time and 0.85 is the OEE. So the customer actual working time in 2 shifts is 765 minutes. Now let's take the formula. Takt time is customer working time in minutes or in second divided by customer required per day. So here it is 765 divided by 300, which comes to 2.5 minutes. If you are working in an automobile industry, it is always suggested that you express takt times in terms of seconds, because in automobile industry everything runs on second basis. Increase or delay in 3 to 5 seconds will have a huge impact at the end of the line. So that comes up to 150 seconds. As said, always express takt time in seconds. Only if the takt time exceeds say 5 minutes or 6 minutes, then you can express in terms of minutes. But if it's less than 5 minutes, always try to maintain it in seconds. The takt time is the basis of setting up of lines at supplier end. If you are a supplier, takt time is the baseline. You need to supply the products considering the takt time. Now, what is the benefits of calculating the takt time? You can find the exact time to produce one unit. You can avoid the situation of overproduction. You can decide a precise guideline for the delivery. Can also be used to determine the efficiency of your organization. You can manage the overtime calculations. Production rate can be streamlined. Takt time is the basis of setting up of the line. So with this calculation, you can decide how your line should be, at what rate your line should produce the parts, how many manpowers are required to achieve that takt time, then how to have a single piece flow, what should be the layout of the plant, what time should the logistics be planned, what time the truck should come, how many material handling systems are required. So with takt time as the baseline, your plant will be running. Next comes the cycle time. This is the time which you must adopt in order to meet the takt time. This is not the customer, this is your company's cycle time. There is a slight difference between takt time and cycle time. Takt time is what the customer produces, cycle time is what you must produce in order to meet the takt time. So it is the time required for a product to undergo a process to convert from initial stage to the end stage as required from the customer. So general principle to be followed for setting up of any production line. Based on the cycle time, you will set up your line as per it. Takt time is the basis. You'll get a rough idea from the takt time. So in the previous example, we saw the takt time as 150 seconds. So you must develop a line and you must have a cycle time which is matching the takt time. There is one general rule. As you are a supplier and you will be handling with the logistics, with the manpower, with the machines, so the cycle time should be always 30% less than the takt time. So considering the previous example, we come to know that the cycle time of your line should be at 105 seconds. So cycle time as or will be always expressed in terms of seconds. So let's see the graphical representation and why this 30% less than the takt time should be followed. The cushion is given to prevent failure of meeting the customer demands due to minor breakdown in case your machine has broken down and you need maintenance to come and solve it. So there will be a time loss. If you give a cushion of 30 seconds, that is if your line is producing 30% faster than what the customer requires, you can match it up towards the end of the day. Or if any member is absent or if the members are relatively new, they take more cycle time. So even if the standard cycle time is 105 seconds and they are doing at 120 or 125, then also it will meet your customer requirement. If in case of any quality issues, you produce some parts but there is some quality problem, the quality department needs to come, recheck it, get deviation from the customer. So these all take some time. So this 30% gives you a cushion to do that without stressing you out much. So now let's see what are the steps that you must take in order to determine the cycle time of any process. The first step is never be in a hurry to determine or to finalize the cycle time. Spend some time, at least 3 to 4 days in the shop floor to get an idea and then make a report. The second step is write down the sequence of operation or standard operating sequences, SOS. Third is plot the standard work chart, SWC. Then take the video of the entire process at least for 5 parts, continuous 5 parts. Study the video and plot down the time for each activity which you have mentioned in the SOS. Then separate the activities based on whether the process is manual or is it automated. Last is plot the standardized work combination table. So these 7 steps we will discuss in the next session as it will take a lot of time. I would like to go in detail as this is the backbone for any industrial engineer. By following these 7 steps, we'll be documenting a set of documents which are required at the time of audit, either by customer or by any third-party auditors, as well as these are required whenever you're doing or developing a new product. The kind of documents will be SOS, SWC, SWCT, and based on these 3 documents, we'll be fixing the cycle time. Then now let's see the benefits of calculating the cycle time. It gives an actual idea of the production rate, gives the data to make changes in production rate to satisfy the demand, and decides the actual time of delivery. Based on your cycle time, you can then fix the number of resources, that is machine, either machine or the manpower that is required at the end to meet the customer demand. By this, even logistic planning can also be optimized. So these are some of the benefits which details we will see down the session, as cycle time setting is very much important for any organization. See the final topic of today's session, that is the lead time. This image clearly explains what do you mean by lead time. Anyway, the definition is the time it takes for one unit to make its way through your operation from taking the order to receiving the payment. That is right from when you receive the PU from the customer saying they want 300 sets per day to the time you receive the amount for that day delivery. So lead time measures the time elapsed between order and delivery. Thus, it measures your production process from your customer's perspective. So for example, it takes, if you receive the order on say 6th of May and you deliver it on 10th of May. So the lead time is 4 days. Whereas you start the production activity on 8th and you complete it on 9th. That is, your cycle time is 1 day. So 4 days is the lead time for you to get the order and to dispatch it, whereas your cycle time to make the product is only 1 day. So that is the difference between cycle time and the lead time. So that concludes today's session wherein we have discussed about takt time, cycle time, lead time, the differences between them, the formulas, and what are the benefits to the organization. So that concludes today's session. So if you have liked this video, please do press the like button, subscribe to this channel, show your support, and share it to as many as friends possible. We will discuss about the steps of cycle time in our next session. See you. Bye.